So, the RTX 50 series GPUs have been out for a while now, and picking a new GPU in 2026 is somehow even more confusing, and definitely more expensive than ever. Trust me, the pricing is all over the place, with some cards selling for way over their original sticker price. But wait, are the new cards even worth the cash? This tech mystery solved. Stay with me and find out. Alright, in this video, I'm breaking down the absolute best RTX GPUs you can actually buy in 2026 for every budget and every build. We'll cover everything from 1080p budget GPUs to the 1440p sweet spot, all the way up to glorious 4K, and even what you should be looking at for content creation. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which card is the right one for your wallet and your PC. So you know what? Let's get to it. Let's talk about the state of the GPU market in 2026. By early 2026, the GPU market is facing significant shortages in gaming hardware, with elevated prices caused by a crisis in memory components and a strong focus on AI and data center GPUs rather than consumer graphics cards. If you find this video interesting, kindly hit a like for me. Now, let's talk about the best of best budget GPU for 1080p gaming. The RTX 5060 Ti 16GB. The RTX 5060 Ti, hero for 1080p gamers, specifically the 16GB model. This card is very capable for 1080p gaming. It delivers a fantastic experience, perfect for anyone with a high refresh rate monitor who wants to stay competitive online. It can even stretch its legs into some light 1440p gaming if you're willing to tweak some settings. The tech is solid, the performance is there, but then we have to talk about the price. The official MSRP for this card is $429. If you could buy it for that, we'd be having a very different conversation. However, the current street price in March 2026 is often closer to $550. And at that price, the value proposition starts to look a little shaky. Why? Because its direct competitors from AMD often deliver brutally competitive rasterization performance for over $100 less. So, the real question is, are NVIDIA's features worth that $100 plus premium? For some of you, the answer is yes. If you love your ray tracing, or if you play a ton of games that get a huge boost from DLSS, the 5060 Ti still has the edge there. NVIDIA's ray tracing is still the best in the business. But for the average gamer who just wants the most frames for their money at 1080p, the 5060 Ti's inflated price makes it a tough sell. It's a good card in a bad market. If you can find one on a deep sale closer to its MSRP, it's a great option. But at its current street price, you have to really want those RTX features. Stepping up to 1440p, the mainstream RTX 5070. Now let's move up the stack to what has traditionally been the sweet spot for PC gaming, the RTX 5070. For years, the 70-class card has been the go-to for gamers who want a high-end 1440p experience without selling a kidney. And the RTX 5070 is, by all accounts, a solid 1440p performer. The performance jump from the 5060 Ti is significant. That extra power translates directly into a very comfortable, high refresh rate 1440p experience. This is the card that lets you crank the settings in the latest AAA titles and still enjoy that buttery smooth gameplay that 1440p monitors are built for. But, you guessed it, we have to talk price. The RTX 5070 launched with an MSRP of $549. The current street price? Typically around $629. It's not as wild as the markups on the high-end cards, but it's enough to push it into a more premium category. It just continues the trend of NVIDIA's mainstream cards feeling less and less, well, mainstream. At around $629, the 5070 is in a bit of an awkward spot. It's a clear step up from the 5060 Ti, but it's also uncomfortably close in price to what the next card on our list should cost. It's a capable card, and if 1440p is your target, it will serve you well. But in terms of pure price to performance, the water is muddy, and it kind of forces you to look over the fence at what AMD is offering in a similar price bracket. Speaking of value, if you're finding this guide valuable for navigating this insane market, do me a solid and hit that like button. It takes 1 second, but it tells the YouTube algorithm we're actually helping people cut through the noise. It costs you nothing and helps the channel a ton. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's move to the 1440p enthusiast and entry 4K card, the RTX 5070 Ti. Okay, now we're talking. If you've got a bit more cash and you want a top-tier 1440p experience, or even want to dip your toes into 4K, the RTX 5070 Ti is the card that should be at the top of your list. This is, in my opinion, the best overall mid-range card on the market right now, if you can stomach the price. Let's talk performance. The 5070 Ti is an absolute monster at 1440p. This isn't a card for just hitting 60 FPS. This is for maxing everything out, turning on a healthy dose of ray tracing, and still pushing triple-digit frame rates. It gives you the headroom to feel confident that you can handle any game for years to come. It's also a viable entry point for 4K. With the magic of DLSS 4, you can get a very playable and stunning 4K experience in a lot of games. This is also where NVIDIA's tech really starts to shine. When you get into heavy ray tracing and path tracing, like in Cyberpunk 2077 or Alan Wake 2, the RTX 5070 Ti pulls way ahead of its AMD rivals. For gamers who prioritize that next-level eye candy, that performance gap is a very big deal. Now for the gut punch, the price. The MSRP for the 5070 Ti is $749. The current street price is often pushing $950. That's a massive markup that pushes this mid-range card firmly into what used to be high-end enthusiast territory. This is the single biggest barrier to recommending it without hesitation. It's an outstanding piece of hardware, but that price tag hurts. The choice here is brutal. Do you want the absolute best 1440p ray tracing machine? Or do you want to save a couple $100 with Team Red for something that gets you 90% of the way there in traditional gaming? Let's talk about the content creator's dilemma. Before we get to the 4K titans, let's talk about a different kind of user, the content creator. If you're a video editor, 3D artist, or streamer, your GPU is a professional tool. And in 2026, the choice between NVIDIA and AMD is more complicated than ever. For years, NVIDIA has been the undisputed king of creative apps, thanks to one word: CUDA. NVIDIA's CUDA cores provide incredible acceleration in software many pros rely on, especially the Adobe Creative Suite. If your life is built around Premiere Pro and After Effects, an RTX card is almost a no-brainer. The export speeds from the NVENC encoder are lightning fast. For these users, an RTX 5070 Ti or an RTX 5080 isn't a gaming card. It's a business expense that saves you hours of rendering time, which translates directly to money. However, the game is changing. If your primary editor is DaVinci Resolve, the story is different. Resolve is exceptionally well optimized for AMD's architecture, and here, Team Red often pulls ahead on pure value. For example, AMD's competitive RDNA 4 cards often come with more VRAM for the price, which is a huge deal for handling high-resolution timelines. For a Resolve-based creator, one of AMD's top cards can offer much better value. So the recommendation for creators is specific. Entering the 4K big leagues, the RTX 5080. Welcome to the high end. If you're a serious 4K gamer with a serious budget, the RTX 5080 is probably on your radar. This is where we leave compromises behind and step into no excuses gaming. The RTX 5080 is a powerhouse. The specs on paper are impressive, making it a true 4K gaming GPU. This is the card that lets you hook up a beautiful 4K monitor and confidently turn the settings way up, enjoying visually rich single-player games with ray tracing at smooth frame rates. But the 5080 has an identity crisis, and it's all about price. The MSRP is $999, which is already premium. But thanks to the market chaos, the price you'll actually pay is closer to $1,250. That markup puts it in a strange position. It's a huge amount of money, but it's not the best. It's overshadowed by its monstrous older brother, the 5090. This creates a tough dilemma. If you're already willing to spend over $1,200 on a GPU, the temptation to just go all the way is immense. You start asking yourself, am I making a mistake by not just saving up for the 5090? It's a classic case of potential buyer's remorse. Compared to the 5070 Ti, it's a solid performance jump, but at a much higher cost. The RTX 5080 is a fantastic card in isolation, but in the context of the 2026 market, it's a tough sell for anyone who doesn't have a very firm $1,300 budget and refuses to spend a penny more. Okay, it's now time for the unquestioned king, the RTX 5090, the card that laughs at 4K, the RTX 5090. Let's be clear, this is not a card for normal people. This is an enthusiast grade, I have more money than sense piece of hardware, and it is absolutely glorious. The monstrous specs we've come to know are just absurd, from its massive core count to its huge 32 gigabytes of GDDR7 memory. This card is a monument to excess. It is, without question, the most powerful consumer gaming GPU on the planet. Performance? It's unmatched. This is the only card that delivers a true, no-compromise 4K gaming experience with every single setting, including path tracing, cranked to the max. Where other cards need DLSS to survive at 4K with ray tracing, the 5090 uses it to push frame rates into the stratosphere. It's not about hitting 60 frames per second, it's about seeing how far past 100 you can get. But this performance comes at a cost that is almost impossible to comprehend. The MSRP is $1,999. The actual street price as of March 2026? An unbelievable figure that can approach $3,500 or more. You could build an entire high-end PC, including an RTX 5070 Ti, for the markup alone. It's so far removed from the concept of value that it's in a different solar system. So who is this for? It's for the mega enthusiast. It's for the professional whose render times are so critical that shaving minutes off a job is worth thousands. And let's be honest, it's for the person who wants the ultimate flex. The RTX 5090 isn't a purchase, it's a statement. It's the king of the hill, and it has a price tag to match. My conclusion on the best RTX GPUs to buy in 2026. For 1080p gaming, the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB is capable, but its inflated price makes it hard to recommend over AMD's cheaper alternatives. For 1440p gaming, the RTX 5070 Ti is priced near $950. It faces brutal competition on value from Team Red. For content creators, it depends on your software. If you're in the Adobe ecosystem, the CUDA performance of an RTX 5070 Ti or 5080 is worth it. If you use DaVinci Resolve, AMD likely offers better value. For high-end 4K gaming, the RTX 5080 is powerful, but its $1,250-ish price puts it in an awkward spot where a used RTX 4090 is often a better deal for raw performance. And finally, for those with unlimited funds, the RTX 5090 is the undisputed king, offering unmatched performance for a reality-shattering price. Let me know in the comments which GPU you're rocking in 2026, or which one you're planning to buy. I read every single one. And if you're still on the fence and wondering if you should just switch to Team Red, I've got you covered. My next video will be a whole separate breakdown of AMD's entire RDNA 4 lineup. You can subscribe, watch that next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.